Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. And the video I'm about to play you is just so unreal, so unbelievable to me that it's hard to comprehend that we have a media so destitute of reality that no one is about to call Andrew the facts aren't the facts Cuomo out on this utter Johnny nonsense. What am I talking about? Well, number one, someone in the press actually asked the question, you're talking about all these outbreaks and stuff, and you're talking about college parties and gatherings, etc. I don't want to put words in the person's mouth. It was hard to hear them. Why are you talking about outbreaks in colleges, but not outbreaks on these protests? And then he sits there and he tries to say that what is the difference? What's the variable? Well, obviously the colleges have out-of-state students. Total bullshit. Listen, I want to know how many out-of-state students, now that the college has said 651 have tested positive over at SUNY Oneonta in the student population in my town, 651. Now, number one, we're now seeing that there was some pool testing, and you got to wonder what's going on there with the pool testing. We have 0 hospitalizations. Otsego County has not upped their numbers, but now they're admitting at other colleges. But this man actually tries to say the difference between the protests and outbreaks, which apparently you can't get an outbreak of this, right? And the colleges is the fact that it's out-of-state students spreading it. Shows no metric. Remember, they didn't test the SUNY Oneonta kids beforehand, because then they couldn't say outrageous things like this and not get called out on it. Okay, so we're going to play that video. Thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Remember, we do it live, and we do it with your support, as we have been deemed harmful content now for 5 months. That's right, 5 months we haven't been able to be monetized. Almost half a year. It's unbelievable how time flies. On a platform that never gave me a strike, never gave me a warning, just said, hey, maybe you're harmful content, no soup for you. So $5, $10, $15, it means the world to me. You can also support me over on Rockfin, but please go create a free account. If you missed it, you missed the exclusive noon Tuesday show that we do every single week, as long as we're not on the road, for free for all you guys who are the real losers in the 2020 election. So you can go check that out after this video. Remember, it's a Rockfin exclusive, and you can make a free account and go watch that one. Thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. And remember, I'm a documentary filmmaker. All my documentary films are free in the playlist section. Loose Change, Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. With all that being said, let's get to Andrew, the facts aren't the facts, Cuomo.
Corruption and brutality in Mount Vernon. There have been repeated calls for your office to direct Attorney Tish James to investigate the police department there, and I'm curious if you have any comment on that.
Yeah, let's do one thing at a time. First, on your point about how a college is different, this is how colleges are different. 108 colleges nationwide. These colleges in the state of New York. This did not happen with the protests. It didn't.
Now, let's right there break it up. Did they do mandatory mass testings of protesters after the fact? Of course they didn't. Of course they didn't. See how it's selective enforcement, selective reality? However, when you came to these colleges, you signed off on everything, and they did do mandatory testing of all of them after the fact. Not before they got there, though. Think about how twisted this is. This guy spent the majority of this press conference saying that all of COVID-19 84 was the president and his administration's fault, called it the European virus, right? Said it came here in, March and April, February, etc., from Europe. There's a lot of evidence it was here way before that. He was saying that back in the day before the narrative got spun even further. But now he's telling you, first of all, he's telling you that none of the protesters are from other states. That's ridiculous. If you don't think that, especially down in New York City, you didn't get protesters from Connecticut, from Pennsylvania, you don't understand the geography. At the bare minimum. At the bare minimum, you got other protesters from there. Okay? So you have that, number one, that lie. And then you look at Rochester and other places. Of course other people came in from other states to protest in there. It's right on the border, too. So Cuomo is just so full of bull shizzle throughout this. I don't know what to say, but now he's going to say it. Protesters, he's going to act like there was the same level of selective testing, selective enforcement, selective fear. There was not.
Well, what is the variable between these congregations and protesters? These people are from all over the country. That's the difference. What was the first part of the multi-part?
He said that with a straight face. SUNY Oneonta, don't get me wrong, there's an abroad program. They are not, any SUNY school, the vast majority of them are coming from New York State, and the vast majority of those coming from New York State are coming from New York City and Long Island, where the biggest outbreaks were. He said that with a straight face. Later on, he demonizes parties and get-togethers. He never demonizes his contact tracing force. He never demonizes the fact that in order to open up restaurants or bars, that he wants some kind of a crazy-ass task force where they're monitoring you inside your establishment. This guy is literally laughing in your face as they cut, get this, 20% of schools' budgets across the board a week before most schools start. And he continues to make this lie up. Oh, those teachers are concerned. Oh, those parents are concerned. No, they're concerned that if their kid catches a cold, they're going to be treated like they are some kind of disease after they already have to have a muzzle and be treated inhumanely at school. And then you're going to isolate them on top of that. That's what they're concerned about, Andrew. But the facts aren't the facts. The man just told you a blatant lie that somehow the outbreaks, remember, the narrative was just parties, but now it must be parties with out-of-state students at them. I got news for you guys. No offense to anybody out there from Long Island or New York City, but when you're in that age range of 18 to 20-something, most of them pretty exclusively hang out with people who are in their area, okay? Who are from where they're from. I got friends from Long Island, okay? No doubt about it. Some people breach that. Some people don't care. But with these little cliques and smaller schools, that's exactly what happens. This guy behind me is so despicable, so disgusting, and he will lie to you with a straight face again and again and again and again. I mean, you should have heard what he was saying about the Trump administration. Talked about the facts again when they're not political facts. Do you think that what you just heard is anything but a political fact? That now somehow out-of-state students that they didn't test anyway, because they didn't test any of the students beforehand. Remember, Max Suco, SUNY Oneonta, has 6,000 students. So we got 651 positives, more than 10% of the kids that go to school there. And they're not talking about all the ones that are off campus. They're not talking about how grandma's not dead. They're certainly not talking about how there's zero hospitalizations here. And I just want to show you not only that article right here, and again, you got Delhi having some cases now and Hartwick's next door, but they haven't shut down because they're at a minimum of cases, right? They say they have 43 students quarantined and 139 isolated on campus, right? This is being reported today, but everybody's supposed to leave by yesterday, so I'm not sure what's really going on. Maybe it happened so fast they had to extend that. I don't know what's going on. Perhaps families didn't want to pick those kids up because of that, or perhaps all those kids are in fact off-campus kids. There's really no way to know because the facts aren't the facts, and my local government certainly isn't telling the truth. And now we've got contact tracers here for weeks, and we've got 4 testing sites, not 3 anymore. Okay, so Hartwick says they've got 11 students, right? No one's in the hospital. Let me say it again. No one's in the hospital. Let me say it again. No one's in the hospital. So now through the Track Trace Database Society, they're saying that 365,000 people, or vehicles, if you will, you could actually get more than one to a vehicle. So maybe, I'm not going to say 500,000, but maybe closer to 400,000. We're at Sturgis between August 7th until August 16th, right? We talked about Sturgis. We saw people actually living their lives, no masks. It was like it wasn't 2020, right? Now, these are bikers, okay? Okay, these are biker people. The best they've been able to do, they're trying to say 250,000 cases have been linked to them because they tracked them through their cell phones and throughout the countries, et cetera, et cetera. The best they've been able to say, are you ready for this, is one fatality of a 60-plus-year-old man. That they're not even confirming it was just COVID. He had COVID comorbidities, of course. But this is 4 weeks later, 3 to 4 weeks later, okay, depending on when he was there and left. Out of 365,000 people, bare minimum, through their track trace, they've got one death of a 60-plus-year-old man. Are we done with the insanity? Are we done with over a month-long period? My God. But the facts aren't the facts. When you let a criminal, okay, a minion of the predator class like the guy behind me, okay, tell you with a straight face that somehow the protests don't cause outbreaks because there's no out-of-state students in them. Think about that. That's insanity. Folks, we do it here, and we do it live, and we do it several times a day with your help. $5, $10, $15, big donors. I need you now more than ever. I'm exiting the state of madness. Me and my family, we're on our way to Iowa. We'll be there on October 1st. Quite frankly, I can't wait to live more of a normal life where I don't walk down Main Street and 3/4 of the people now are wearing masks when it's 70 to 90 degrees out. This is insanity, and that insanity has been orchestrated and projected by people like Andrew Cuomo and the minions under him, because he's taking orders. He's not the Godfather, guys. You know that. It makes me ill. Remember, you can also support me on Rockfin. If you do the $9.99 a month, you get all the premium content. There is some premium exclusive content up there put out by me as well. But then you get the premium content of everybody else on the platform too, which is totally awesome. I'm launching something soon that's involved with Dan Dix and Press for Truth. I'm going to get him on to talk about it because we know that, he was just kicked off the platform. No explanations whatsoever. And that may happen here. But right now, the Burmese Brigade is 57,000 strong. How awesome is that? Let's get it to 60,000. Let's get it to 100,000. This is what I'm telling you to do. I love you sharing my stuff on social media, putting it in your timelines. Great. Find a video that you think is going to reach somebody personally. Forget about just putting it on your timeline. Then give that video to a person in a DM and really pitch it, say, this is why you need to see this. You might enjoy this guy. You can check out the stuff yourself. That's how we start to reach people. Individual connections, individual messages. And my message to you is to check out Invisible Empire, A New World Order to Find, and Shade the Motion Picture if you want to know what's going on for real right now. Remember, I'm going to be having the Action for Assange crew on later from one of their events out in D.C. I want to thank you guys for joining me. I love you, and I'll see you on the flip side.